With the stock market at record highs, are you prepared for the next downturn? Corrections can be unforgiving. Smart investors know diversification is the key to financial security. Noble Gold Investments make it easy to diversify with gold. With over $2 billion in sales, Noble Gold has helped thousands of Americans add gold to their portfolios. Open a qualified account today and receive 2 5-ounce Silver America the Beautiful coins as a thank you. NobleGoldInvestments.com. Don't let the next correction catch you off guard. NobleGoldInvestments.com. Okay, joining us now is Ben Bergquam and Eli Crane. They are outside of the D.C. gulag. President Donald Trump has pardoned and commuted all these sentences, yet the D.C. jail is refusing to release them. We're not going to put up with this. And there's going to be people that will be held accountable for this. Ben, walk us through the latest here.
Hey, Charlie. We're outside the jail right now. As you said, as far as we know, there's 21 inmates. We're trying to get an update. Actually, Congressman Crane is on the phone with the PIO as we speak. He's going to join us in just a second. We've got a group of at least 50 people across the street that are out here, including Ashley Babbitt's mom, Nikki, and Suzanne Monk, and a lot of these people that have been fighting this vigil for over 900 days, 903 days. President Trump announced the pardon. He signed the pardons of all of these January 6ers, and apparently the D.C. gulag is still holding 21 of them. We've got word that 3 or 4 are anticipated to be released any minute now, but what's crazy, Charlie, is we have prisoners that have been released from other states that are coming to join the vigil out here until all these guys are released. They were released at between midnight and 3 a.m. They've had time to get down here to join us, but we still have D.C. prisoners being held right now.
Okay, so very quickly, what is the excuse that they're giving? I feel confident we're going to be able to get this done in the next 12 hours, but we're not going to allow any paperwork delays. We're not going to put up with this. By the way, any loved ones that still have people in prisons, you can show up with the tweet that we did of a copy of the executive order. That's it. Show a copy of the pardon, and they have to facilitate the release. What is going on here, Ben?
Yeah, that's not what I asked. So what we're being told is the person that was supposed to sign off on the releases was not here. That's the word that we're getting. We haven't got confirmation from the jail. We're not actually getting any word. In fact, if you want to just listen in on Eli for a second, you'll hear a little bit of it.
We want names of people, because if they're going to defy the president's orders, then you serve at the pleasure of the president as a federal employee. We're not going to put up with this. Playtime is over. Yeah. Eli, what's going on? We're live on air here. It's Charlie Kirk, Eli Crane, great from Arizona, 10 out of 10. Eli, give us a quick update.
Hey, Charlie, thanks for having us on. We're just down here at the D.C. jail. I just got off the phone with one of the public relations officers for the D.C. jail, who informed me that because this D.C. jail is actually holding these prisoners on behalf of the U.S. Marshals, because they're federal prisoners, they don't have any authorities to release them. And once they receive documentation, federal documentation from the U.S. Marshals, then they can go ahead and process these folks out. That's what I was just told. And so we're going to continue to stay down here, put pressure, and get as many answers that we can. These guys. This is BS. We're not going to put up with this. First of all, the U.S. Marshals are not some sort of they're not their own branch of government. I must have missed Article 8 of the U.S. Constitution, where the U.S. Marshals are their own part of. No, they serve at the pleasure of the president. The president has given direct orders, and let this be a warning. I hope they're listening. I don't care if you're a U.S. Marshal or a warden or the Bureau of Prisons. You guys are defying the president. You guys very well could be investigated for this. You guys could end up having criminal charges if you do not follow direct orders. Paperwork, I don't know all this. You got to get them out of prison. And by the way, pardons can be delayed for a long time if you do not put the pressure on. So, Eli, thank you for keeping the pressure on. We really appreciate it. And we need to make sure that we get these guys released. Thank you. I won't go into too much of the details here, but I think I'll just mention this. Julie Kelly and I were on the phone together with the president last week about this topic of January 6th. We won't say any more than that, but we got Julie and I reconnected. She has the president's respect. She knows this topic better than anybody else. Julie, welcome back to the program.
Hey, Charlie, what an amazing day yesterday. And thank you for your help with this historic decision, courageous decision that the president made. It's really amazing to see the videos on X of people being released from federal prison after all these years. So thank you, and thank you to the president for including me in that process. And I hope we can toast in person one of these days, Charlie.
Yes, and Julie, you deserve a lot of credit. You were the president was making his whole final decisions, and you were very persuasive for him. Let's just put it that way. So, Julie, let's recap for the audience. What exactly was signed? What are the details of this pardon? Educate our audience on that, please.
So the pardon, as the president said during the signing ceremony last night, is a full pardon. So that applies to close to now 1,600 J6 defendants. There was a carve out there, Charlie, for 14 individuals whose sentences have now been commuted. And those were all members or associates of the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers. And I believe that he said that those cases will be reviewed also for pardons. And I believe his final decision will be similar to what we saw yesterday, pardoning those individuals, many of whom were convicted of seditious conspiracy, which is a terrorism statute usually reserved, Charlie, for real terrorists, not political protesters. So I'm sure the president will reach the same decision. And then what's happening today, Charlie, there were several J6 related court proceedings in Washington scheduled for today, including one case going to the jury for a verdict. And you have the new D.C. U.S. Attorney, Ed Martin, who I believe that you know, who is a friend of mine, and he's already filing motions to dismiss those indictments. And I know that judges were forced to do that today. And boy, I wish I was there to have seen those judges have to drop those cases. That would have been another incredible moment.
And so this is so profound, and I hope everyone here understands what's going on, is that the president could have done the watered down version, right? He could have kind of gone halfway. Now, the media is attacking. They say, oh, well, President Trump even commuted or pardoned people that were violent. This is the important thing, though. The question is, do you believe if the tree is rotten, is the fruit also rotten? Can a rotten tree produce good fruit? No. Talk about the due process violations. That's really what we're getting at here, is that these defendants did not have basic constitutional guarantees. They were guilty until proven innocent. Pretrial detention, solitary confinement, did not get access to adequate attorneys. They did not get the ability to examine evidence. Julie, it's not about that President Trump made a comment on the actions of what they did that day. He was pardoning and commuting the process.
That's right.
Explain, please.
And Charlie, that obviously was something you were very adamant about, is emphasizing the lack of due process, correct, the constitutional rights violations at play in this prosecution. So that is, of course, something that we added to the consideration. And I know that the president himself is fully aware of what these prosecutors and judges have been doing for more than 4 years. But I think the most egregious violation is that judges systematically, for 3 years, Charlie, as we discussed, denied every single change of venue motion filed by every J6 defendant, arguing that they could still get a fair trial in a city almost entirely populated by Democrats, and not just Democrats, Trump-loathing, radical left-wing Democrats who view the events of January 6th as they do compare it to 9/11. I have sat in some of those jury selections. You cannot believe what the residents of Washington, D.C. think about January 6th. So the judges would claim, okay, well, we'll go through this voir dire process. We'll really, drill down into their political views about Donald Trump and January 6th. No, they didn't. They didn't do that. And so it resulted in the DOJ having this perfect conviction rate after now almost 3 years of trials. So that right there is an indication that these J6ers did not have their constitutional rights of an impartial jury, going before an impartial jury. And certainly the judges were a big part of that, but also withholding discovery, Brady materials, exculpatory evidence, concealing the use of not just FBI informants, but other undercover agents from numerous law enforcement agencies. So there were so many things just systematically happening there that resulted in more than 1,000 going to federal prison. So I know that that was part of your strong argument, not that we needed to. Again, the president was on board, but I think just developing the argument and the record for this extraordinary measure that he took yesterday.
There were people, not on his team has been excellent, but in his orbit that were saying do not do the widespread pardons. Is that fair, Julie?
Yes, absolutely. Because to your point, the easy one, the low-hanging fruit, and I think what a lot of people thought was going to happen, and CNN and the Washington Post actually erroneously reported this a few hours before he issued that pardon, is, okay, we'll just dismiss the counts, pardon those who were convicted or accused of the 4 or 5 common misdemeanors, which is still hundreds of people. And then we'll go case by case for the 300 or so with those federal, it's 111 charges, assault, interfering, impeding certain officers. So I think that's what everyone was sort of suggesting. And you know this, Charlie, pressure from Republicans in Congress. We had U.S. senators very strongly come out during Pam Bondi's confirmation hearing. Tom Tillis and Lindsey Graham very unequivocally saying there should not be pardons for anyone accused of assaulting police. So this was such a courageous decision by President Trump. I really want to emphasize that. This was not an easy thing for him to do, but he did it because it's the right thing, and he feels personally passionate about restoring justice and making these people whole.
It was a phenomenal act of courage, a breathtaking act of courage. And the other element of J6 News that we saw, we don't have tons of time here, Julie, about a minute and a half, so tease it out, is that in the morning, every member of the J6 committee and their staff received a preemptive pardon from Joe Biden. This one even took me by surprise. What is going on here?
So he issued pardons for not just the members, so Benny Thompson and Adam Kinzinger, of course, Liz Cheney, but the staffers. So this would be the investigators. I think they hired a dozen federal former prosecutors, Charlie, to interrogate 1,000+ witnesses, mostly Trump White House employees. They're all pardoned. But the real outrage, Charlie, is pardoning what I call the 4 J6 celebrity cops, Mike Fanone, Aquilina Ganell, Harry Dunn, and Daniel Hodges, who not only committed perjury under their sworn testimony during that first hearing in July of 2021, they have showed up as victims and witnesses in J6 hearings and trials and sentencing, begging judges to throw the book at J6ers based on the lies about their injuries or what they saw or what they endured. All 4 of them committed perjury multiple times, and that is proven by the fact that Joe Biden has had to issue a pardon to exonerate them. They caused arguably more damage to J6ers than Liz Cheney and that committee. Really a despicable move by Joe Biden on top of so many.
By the way, Steve Bannon should get a full pardon as well. Of course, he's out of jail, but it expunges your entire record. I'm confident he's going to get it. But Steve Bannon should get, and Peter Navarro, for the record, by the way. Peter Navarro is working in the White House actually as a convicted federal felon, so we got to get rid of that one.